Alrighty, welcome back, boys and girls. It's your main math man, Mr. Shen, coming to you live from Walker Grant Middle School. And for this exit ticket, you want to make sure that you're, as always, labeling it for yourself with your appropriate name and not mine. Alright, so in that word bank, just like in the last video, or the last exit ticket, I should say, you want to make sure that you're spelling correctly, and again, it kind of has that same repeated steps just like before. However, you want to make sure that you are matching up. So you're essentially doing this. You're matching the phrase with the variable that we use. Because a lot of people, and the reason why I practice this is a lot of people just kind of throw out different terms or letters or just words in general that they aren't able to define. So I mainly want everybody to be able to, only use words that they are able to define. So specifically this. It says, provided the word and letter bank above, fill in the blanks in the sentence below. So it says, one, using the formula for surface area of a pyramid. And actually, we could say, or volume, because we use both. But that's fine. When using the formula for surface area or volume of a pyramid, you need to use blank as the blank, and as comma, another letter as another phrase, and another letter as another phrase. So, if we need to slide right into that wonderful, bright, hurting on the eyes formula sheet, you can see, hey, I have this square-based pyramid for ourselves. Again, all of these, so just as a quick side note, all pyramids in Math 8 are square-based. And this makes it super, super simple for you as, hey, I know what my base is each and every time, and so I am able to calculate the area of the base, which is that big B for ourselves, a lot simpler. So square-based pyramids. Alright, so as I have there, again, I have that volume and surface area formula. Let's get these labels for ourselves. And actually, if you notice, towards the very bottom, let me see if I can line this up just so. There you go. So it says, again, the main reason why I have that is I call that the big B. Again, that's a capital B or that uppercase B. Again, that's the area of the base. Because a lot of people, they're like, yeah, it's just the base. Well, sadly, it is not, which is why they use a different letter for that. Again, notice how those are different letters. So, that aside, but not too far away, let's get these down to business to defeat the Huns. So it says, you need to use that big B. I used it for the area of the base. Cross it out since I used it. Now what else do we have? Well, okay, I'm a little bit unsure, but hey, maybe I can use my context clues. I have that the P, again, this letter P, is going to be the perimeter. So I'm going to have the perimeter of the base. And lastly, but never leastly, we have that the L, a little bit different this time from our last video, but in this pyramid, when we're doing those pyramids, that L is going to stand for the slant height. Again, these are the three main variables that you need for this, and so make sure that you are able to find them. So now that we have those definitions down for ourselves, again, you want to be able to read through it first and then solve for it. So it says, find the surface area and the volume of the pyramid with a height of 3. And so I laugh only just because so many people are like, okay, this is the height. Where's the height? I don't see it. Well, it says it right there. So just like before, let's get these steps out for ourselves. So let's see. Let me slide this over. So we have first our labels. So what can we have here? Well, right away I know that, and let's actually make a little column for ourselves here. So we have H, we already have, that's going to be 3. What else do we have? Well, we know that the slant height is going to be, again, that amount that is on the side. Notice how, again, it's kind of at an angle that you're seeing here. So that's going to be that 3.5. And now the last two, again, we're going to have the area of the base and the perimeter of the base. Well, what do we need to do for that? To be able to do that, you want to be able to trace the base, and redraw the base. And shout out to one Miss Chapin, since she's the one that told me mainly about this, because it helps us kind of see, okay, hey, I'm going to trace it out, and before we maybe had to do non-square base pyramids, but for you guys, you have it even simpler, so we need to redraw that square. So let's kind of redraw. Let's see, I can just kind of squeeze this in here. I have a nice, perfectly drawn 90-degree angle square with a side length of 2. Okay, so now, also a lot of people, I sighed this time as opposed to laughing because it's not funny, but a lot of people were struggling to find the area and the perimeter of the square because either A, they were not putting their pencil to the paper, or they weren't able to use this wonderful formula sheet that they have. So again, the perimeter of the square is just 4 times that side length, since they are all the same. And the area of that square is going to be that side length to the second power. So let's have it like this. Let's have, again, our perimeter. The perimeter, again, is going to be 4 times the side length. So that's going to be 8. And then the area of the base, or big B, is going to be the side length to the second power. Again, make sure that's essentially just 2 times 2. So in total, that means the area of our base is going to be 4. All right, so now that we have our labels, we want to have that formula for ourselves. So let's do surface area first. So surface area is equal to, well, what does it say over here? Let's bust it out one last time. It says surface area is going to be the slant height times the perimeter of the base, and that we can have divided by 2, and we're going to add it to the area of the base. So let's have it, let me write this here. So I'm going to have the slant height, which is L, times the perimeter of the base, which is P, over 2. And I'm going to add that to the area of the base. Again, notice how I'm, instead of saying, just saying those letters, instead of just saying L times P over 2, I'm saying what those terms actually mean. So again, it's the slant height times the perimeter of the base divided by 2, plus the area of the base. Plug in those values, so we're going to sub in. So we're going to have surface area is equal to, well, what's again, the reason why I do it like this, as we get to plug it in, it makes it so much simpler instead of having to kind of find and pick it out. I have a list right here. So again, this slant height for ourselves is going to be 3.5. The perimeter of the base is going to be 8. Again, that's over 2. And then the area of the base is going to be 4. Multiplying those values carefully. Again, I work in the numerator first. And so I have 3.5 times 8 is going to be 28. So 28 over 2, and then everything else stays the same. Lastly, I have 28 divided by 2 is going to be 14. Bring down the rest. And so I have surface area is a grand total of 18. And then we're going to put our units as well to the correct power. Again, so the surface area, it's going to be inches squared. Circle your answer. Make sure you don't cover anything up. So we have 18 inches. Let me actually, in case you do mess up, that's totally fine. That's why you have an eraser. And so we have 18 inches squared. Again, if you need to replay, instant replay, slow motion, anything like that, please make sure you can. So lastly, let me do this volume. And so again, I have my still the same labels, still the same height, slant height, and area of the base. So let's have that formula, however. So the formula for the volume of a square base pyramid is going to be the area of that base times the height divided by 3. Again, make sure that you are very careful. You are seeing the difference between height and slant height. So let's plug in those values. So we're going to have, let's slide this over. We're going to have volume is equal to, Mr. Shank, move your hand. We have 4, which is the area of the base, times the height, which is 3. So 4 times 3 over 3. So we're going to have volume is equal to 4 times 3 is 12 divided by 3, which is 4, and then we have inches to the 3rd power. Again, make sure that you are seeing each of those items in there, circling your answers. That way it's a lot more clear. Take your time as you're writing it for yourself. Just like in the last video, I'm going to double check my answers using that wonderful Desmos calculator. So let me slide this up. Again, let's actually do, let's see if I can slide this whole way over. Not quite. Well, real close. Alright, so let's see. Let's actually do this surface area this time first. So I'm going to type in my formula. So I have the slant height times the perimeter of the base. I have divided by 2. Make sure anytime you're using a fraction and still need to have something else typed in, you kind of move over to the right or left one. That way you're on another term. I have plus, and I have, let's have big B, so I have shift, and then big B, or capital B. So that's going to be our surface area formula. Then we have the volume formula, which is going to be the area of the base times the height divided by 3. You're going to press enter to kind of store it in there. And now we need to be able to go back and have these values. So we have H is going to be equal to a value. We have the slant height, which is L. We have the capital B, which is the area of the base, or big B. And lastly, but never leastly, we have the perimeter of the base, which stands for P. Again, plug in and store those values. So we have perimeter is 8, area of the base is 4, slant height is 3.5, height is 3. So let me slide that over so that way you guys can see. Again, notice how it has these values listed. Make sure you don't lose yourself in it. You want to be able to see, okay, this is my surface area, so that we know this is good, and this is our volume, so we know we are good. Again, you will have this Desmos calculator the entire time while taking that Math 8 SOL.